when interior designer Kirsty Badenhorst and her husband Jason Donison sought a contemporary aesthetic for their kitchen, they recognized that a mere wardrobe transformation wouldn't suffice. With their shared artistic sensibilities, Kirsty embarked on a visionary journey to reimagine the space, understanding that a more substantial overhaul was necessary beyond mere rearrangements.
Kirsty, your home looks beautiful, most of the kitchen.
You.
So what was the renovation goal, and of course, how did you embark on this project?
So the goal for the space was more just to open it up. Initially, when I first looked at this property, there was a huge wall over here, so it completely blocked out any natural light that came into this space. This actually was a dining room, and the kitchen was just simply that area at the back there. So for me, straight away, I thought, well, I would rather have the dining space more in the entertaining area, as that's where people are going to be drawn to. And I wanted this kitchen to be the complete heart of the home. So I wanted to draw the spaces together. So in removing that wall, the natural light flowed through, and then also I was able to incorporate this beautiful, 3-meter long island, which is amazing because when I'm cooking and preparing and we've got people around, we lay out all the food on the island, which is incredible. Everyone comes here, dishes up, and moves on into the dining space and out into the deck area. So I wanted the space to be just an entertaining hub in our home, which it truly is now, because we have managed to open up the space entirely in removing this wall, which is great.
That's amazing. So I'll say, are you an interior designer that is more drawn to functionality, aesthetics, or rather both of them?
So it definitely has to be both. It always has to be both. It's important for a space to be beautiful, but it's more important for that space to function properly. A kitchen in particular, it is so important for it to function correctly, because you don't want to be trying to cook a meal and everything is completely out of the way. It has to make sense.
Yeah.
With regards to those 2 points, the aesthetics of the space and the function of the space, we have 2 entry points into this kitchen. We've got coming in from the lounge and we've got coming in from outside, from our courtyard. So what I wanted was almost to create the courtyard coming in is very much the functional area, and coming in from the lounge area, which is where our guests would come in, that becomes the aesthetic wow moment. So as you come through the beautiful archway, you are introduced, with the beautiful cabinetry and the lovely organic tiling details. We've incorporated, beautiful antique units as well, just to create a little bit of charm and interest because the home is so charming.
Yeah.
And obviously then the wallpaper, the beautiful light fittings. So that's what I wanted to create. I wanted the functionality, but it also had to be beautiful, especially because it is my home. I design so many kitchens with what I do. So I really wanted this one to be chef's kiss.
Undoubtedly, Kirsty's distinctive work makes an unequivocal statement.
Say it is, I'll really say it is. When you were choosing your design style, did you go more for countryside? Did you go more for contemporary? Or did you go more for transitional?
So with the home, it very much looks like it has been, picked up off a French countryside. So I needed to pay respect to that, because the kitchen obviously needs to tie in with the rest of the home, otherwise it's not going to make any sense. It's very important when designing a home that when you're moving from one space to the next, you have that sense of calm, because it makes sense and there's flow. So I would say, because I didn't want to modernize the house, but I didn't want it to look completely country. So you'll notice we have incorporated quite contemporary doors, but then we have very much little country details that come through within the space. The wallpaper, it's very soft and organic in its flow, and very tonal, so it's not too loud. And then also I wanted that chic element, so we incorporated the crystal lighting and all of those beautiful details coming in. I also wanted a sense of fun, so we've got all the beautiful blue Le Creuset everywhere as the pop of blue coming through. So it's very much, I would say, like a country chic sort of style.
Yeah, that's amazing. Before the interview, I told you I could sleep in this kitchen.
Did Chidi just say he could sleep in the kitchen? Oh, boy. That's not allowed on Invade, but we understand exactly how you feel. The colors lend soul to the space.
talking about the tonal wallpapers, how were you able to choose the color scheme? Because knowing you, you're that lady that you just want everything very perfect, very properly done. How were you able to actually choose the, you know, the design and the color scheme for this kitchen?
So I did want the space to be fairly neutral in tone and then have the pops of the blue coming through, like I said, which we've got with the Le Creuset. The main thing for me, because I went with the neutral color palette, is the view with our garden here is so incredible. It is so tranquil. It's like stepping into the Garden of Eden. It is just beautiful.
That's the word.
So for me, I wanted the kitchen and the color tones and these spaces to complement our surroundings in essence. I didn't want them to fight with it. So I went very neutral with just a few little pops of color here and there just to create that point of interest and those moments as you walk around the room, but kept it fairly neutral. So at least we know our view. That's really, I mean, it's special. It's so
beautiful.
special.
It is beautiful. I think that you've done an incredible job here because I love it. I love everything about it.
The seamless open line of sight from the kitchen to the inviting seating area outside creates a liberating holiday ambiance. Considering the coastal climate with minimal cold during winter months, the kitchen was thoughtfully designed to exude an airy and luminous aesthetic, perfectly capturing the essence of the surrounding environment.
But let's talk about more about budgeting now in general interior design and of course with the Reno that you've done. What are the key factors to consider when budgeting for a renovation or rather a new design or something very different when it comes to interior design?
Okay, so a lot of the time with renovations, people think about your key elements. So say, for example, your kitchen. You're going to think about your beautiful stone, you're going to think about your cabinetry, you're going to think about your appliances. Those are your big ticket items. However, a lot of the time, what clients don't necessarily think of is that there is so much else that goes into a space. So in this space in particular, we joined 2 rooms together. There were different floor levels, there were different ceiling heights. So in essence, what had to happen is we had to strip the entire ceiling, put all new ceilings in, and then we created these false beams to give it again that country sort of feel. The flooring, we had to lay self-leveling screed down to get the flooring at the same level in order to lay the new flooring down. So those sorts of things, a lot of the time people don't really take into consideration when they are planning. They think, okay, cool, we're going to bash down a wall, we're going to put in new cupboards, put in new worktops, and you know, Bob's your uncle got a beautiful new kitchen. It unfortunately is not that simple. There's so much else to consider. And obviously if you want to take it that next level, you have to consider the lighting, the beautiful wallpaper. If it is an old home, you need to change all of your light switches and you know, all of your plug points. There's electrical involved, plumbing involved. So there's a lot to consider that unfortunately people don't realize straight away when they, you know, decide to renovate a space. So this space, we did also unfortunately come into some challenges. Being a much older home, as I put in the offer and it was accepted and the transfer process started going through, I received the floor plans for the house and the building plans for the house. And what was shown, what was structural and what wasn't structural, unfortunately wasn't correct. So the moment that we moved into this home, which was on the Thursday when the transfer went through, my contractor arrived on Monday morning, ready to go.
Oh my God.
Because I was adamant, because I had a vision for this space. I knew straight away. I mean, I looked at this home on the Saturday, I put in the offer on the Sunday, it was accepted on the Monday. The moment I stepped onto this property, I knew it was our home. I just knew. I had such a vision for the space. So, you know, you have to budget for all the bits and pieces and all of these complications that come along the way. In order for me to remove this wall, which was the intention to open up into the lounge space, I would then have to have incorporated an I-beam. And that I-beam, it's metal, it's so expensive. So I unfortunately had to ditch that idea of opening it. It was a happy decision in the end because we kept the beautiful arch, which is very true to the building, which is important too. So I think all of those things, you've got to kind of just go with the flow and also just anticipate that there are going to be unforeseen costs with renovations because you don't know until you start renovating. So yeah, you kind of just got to roll with it, but always budget. I would say realistically, you almost need to have your initial budget and have a 20% buffer on that budget to accommodate anything. And if you don't spend it, great, then you can put in something, lavish into the space, with that money. But I would say in general, a good piece of advice is have your initial starting budget, but make sure you do have a 20% buffer in order to accommodate any of these unforeseen costs.
Well, thank you so much, for giving me a new inspiration on styling and how to actually do a perfect reno.
Popularly known as the cooking husband, the award-winning cookbook author Sinyolo Sifo introduces us to Kirsty's kitchen with an impeccable taste for local dishes, a flair for creativity, and a dedication to perfection. This culinary genius is about to treat us to a Mzansi braai. Now we can't forget the beloved side of chakalaka, made with the freshest ingredients. Kirsty shows us how it's done in her kitchen. Is a braai complete without some mouth-watering boerewors? Our chef is a true Newmarian. Now, this looks yummy. Judging by the reactions, everyone agrees. Sifo, you're indeed the cooking husband.